Hello, my dear friends, and welcome back to Called WordSmith. So, not going to waste any time, I'm really excited about this, but today we find ourselves treading through a song woven from both beauty and bruises. It's Unethical. It's a song I know very well. It's originally penned and performed by Faouzia and now reimagined by MAPHRA. I am so excited. And by the way, just to tell you a little bit about the song, if you're unfamiliar, Faouzia has shared that she wrote this piece during a period in which she recognized she had become ensnared in a cycle of narcissistic abuse. And she was caught in the orbit of someone adept at distorting reality, turning every grievance upon its head before one could even discern the sleight of hand. So, from that anguish emerges a question both poignant and disquieting. Is it unethical to profit from another person's suffering? It's a great question. And by the way, if you haven't already, I wholeheartedly encourage you to listen to Faouzia's original, and I'll have that linked below. I've also explored and analyzed the original on this channel, which I'll also link in the description below. So settle in. I'm very curious. I'm also compassionate towards this piece, and perhaps there's a little courage in it as well. So let's rediscover that through MAPHRA's interpretation. So let's bloody go. Okay, so out of every song that I've reacted to, I don't think I've ever been as excited to react to a performance as much as I do this one, because it's one of my favorite new discoveries, which is MAPHRA singing a song by Faouzia, who is my absolute favorite lyricist and one of my favorite vocalists. So I'm in Candyland right now. I am so excited. I cannot wait to listen to this. So without further bloody ado, let's go for it. Original key. Not surprising.
Vertigo in your arms. 1 second you hate me, then it's false alarm. That's just what you always do every time. Watch me when I break and say it's paradise. Set my body aflame. Lock me up and close the door when it rains. Maybe it's my fault I put you up so high.
Interesting.
Darling, I think you can make the devil cry.
Loving it.
And I've been waiting for the sunset, waiting on a sorry, but you're never sorry, are you?
Ooh.
No, you don't even care. How can you stand and watch while I'm breaking all my bones, trying to hold you close, cut my heart right out of my body, tearing off my skin just to let you in. Isn't it a bit unethical? Got me on my knees, have you any mercy every time you hurt me, baby? Tell me, have I not given you enough? If you ever love me, let me go.
I understood that she was going to do something different with the song. That's a given. But she's singing from somewhere different here. And we're only 1 minute 27, and there's 2 minutes to go. But she's singing from somewhere different that I haven't heard her sing from before. And I'll elaborate on that in a bit, but I'll talk about it properly at the end. I'm usually a bit more articulate than this, but I think we're onto something special here. You know what? There is something immediately arresting about the integrity of MAPHRA's breath support throughout this performance, because one of the easiest ways to recognize an accomplished vocal technique is not necessarily through this ostentatious display of range or volume, power, or what have you, but through the quiet architecture beneath the sound itself. If you listen closely, you'll notice how remarkably anchored she remains. The phrases unfurl with an almost untroubled continuity, sustained by a disciplined engagement of breath that allows her to navigate Faouzia's very demanding melodic contours without ever sounding breathless or overburdened. But even in those moments that require intensity, there is no audible scramble for air with her. There's no sense of the voice being pushed beyond its natural threshold. Instead, the tone does indeed bloom with assurance. Each line is just carried upon a current of controlled airflow that affords her the luxury of expression. It is a splendid reminder that breath support is not merely a technical exercise, it is the invisible scaffolding that grants a singer both freedom and poise. Now, what is surprising me about this, and I've listened to that part again, and it's most profound, is the texture she chooses to inhabit. I was anticipating a bit of growing power, perhaps even defiance, but vulnerability was the unexpected guest at the table here. There's a delicate grain woven through her timbre here. It's a gentle fragility that lends the performance an extraordinary humanity that I wasn't expecting. And rather than armoring herself behind immaculate technique, MAPHRA permits us glimpses of, I'll call it uncertainty for now, but I think tenderness is a better way to describe it. Her voice occasionally carries an ache to it, as though the lyrics have not merely been recognized, but lived with wrestled intention, and finally surrendered to that feeling. And because of that, she transforms Unethical, a piece that I'm very familiar with, from a display of vocal capability into an act of confession, similar to that of Faouzia's performance. And that subtle vulnerability becomes the performance's most beguiling virtue, reminding me that we rarely fall in love with perfection, but we fall in love with truth. And truth, when sung with this degree of courage, when it is sung with this degree of restraint, it can be infinitely more devastating than any vocal acrobatics that the best singer could pull off. You know, reacting to MAPHRA, especially if you're me, one of the things I pride myself in is trying to describe the indescribable elements of a performance, especially trying to interpret lyrics and analyze them. With her, it's difficult because I'm always just so gobsmacked at what she is able to do. But here she is doing something. Let's just keep it going. Please mute the parts where I'm singing along.
I don't know what it is, got me wrapped around your cold fingertips. Maybe it's my fault I can't walk away. Maybe I just started feeling a little shame. Oh, I've been waiting on the sunset, waiting on a sorry, but you're never sorry, are you? No, you don't even care. How can you stand and watch while I'm breaking all my bones, trying to hold you close? Got my heart right out my body, tearing off my skin just to let you in. Isn't it a bit unethical? Got me on my knees, have you any mercy every time
I'm waiting for the
me, baby? Tell me have I not given you enough? If you ever love me, let me go. Let me go.
There you go.
I'll let you go. If you let
Wow. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the first time I've seen someone's heart sing. It was beautifully fragmented. Wow. That is one of, if not the best performance I've ever reacted to. I am delightfully shocked, deeply moved. My gosh. This girl she is honestly one of the best I have ever seen. Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts that I need to articulate, so yeah. I am speechless, as well as, well, I don't know. But before I delve deeper, I just want to make a small note of caution, because I can't know MAPHRA's personal reasons for selecting this song. So it's worth framing for me that any interpretation it's just thoughtful speculation from my perspective. And I don't have the words, but what I am finding here, I constantly find myself left with an abundance of questions after this performance, and questions not born of confusion, but of fascination. Why did she pick this song? Why Unethical? Of all the pieces MAPHRA could have chosen to inhabit, what invisible thread drew her towards this particular confession? I think perhaps she recognized fragments of herself within its bruised poetry. Perhaps its lyrical landscape mirrored emotions too intricate to articulate through ordinary speech, which I can understand. Or perhaps she simply understood that some songs do not merely ask to be sung, they demand to be survived. I cannot know the private cartography of another person's heart, and it would be presumptuous of me to claim otherwise, so I'm not going to delve deeper in that, but that's just what I'm thinking. But there is an undeniable sense that MAPHRA approached this piece not as an assignment, but as a vessel, one capable of carrying something deeply personal across the uncertain waters between artist and us as the audience. So this is my third MAPHRA reaction. And in the previous two performances, it astonished me through the sheer magnificence of her vocal prowess, the, startling range, the effortless command, the almost preternatural natural gifting on display. But this performance has unsettled me in an entirely different way. And to be clear, those earlier interpretations were by no means devoid of feeling. That's not what I'm saying. But emotion just coursed through them with sincerity and conviction. But here, something shifted. The armor seems lighter. The meticulous technician yielded space to the vulnerable storyteller through vocal technique. It was the texture of emotional exposure woven through the voice that caught me completely off guard here. There is a profound difference between singing beautifully and allowing oneself to be heard in one's own fragility. And MAPHRA does the latter with more courage than I've ever seen a singer muster in the 200-odd videos that I've done. What I'm hearing here in her rendition of this song is not merely vocal execution. It's ache. It is the weary resonance of someone tracing the contours of hurt with exquisite care. And the phrases seem weighted not by strain, but by remembrance. There are moments where her voice appears to hesitate and at the precipice of emotion before passing onward. And it is precisely within those fleeting imperfections of humanity that the performance finds its greatest strength. And she sings from somewhere remarkably deep within herself. And whether that depth stems from lived experience, profound empathy, or an artist's rare gift for emotional embodiment, I am just so captivated. And in all honesty, this has become one of my favorite reactions that I've ever done on this channel. It has been nothing but a privilege. Not because it delivered the most dazzling runs or high notes or any of that, though MAPHRA is more than capable of both, but because it reminded me of why I do what I do here. I don't just seek it merely to be impressed, even though I am. I seek these types of performances to be understood. And every so often, a performance arrives that quietly dismantles the distance between performer and listener, and this is that. And I am left standing here in reverent, silent awe, grateful that another human being found the courage to sing their heart out aloud. If I were to summarize my analysis, yes, this is what it looks like when a heart can sing. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, please do be kind, gentle, respectful to one another, and I'll see you lot in the next video. Cheers.